Trying to define my situation at work is much like trying to define this podcast. Like, it's just a new thing. No one knows what it is. There's no instruction manual. So efficiency and leadership is, if I'm
And
doing one of those two things or neither, I'm doing it right.
and this is the thing, in my opinion, already about podcasting is there is a formula. And if you do the formula, no one will give a shit about what you're doing because everyone and their dog has a podcast that's doing the formula. So follow the formula, but diverge as much as possible and try things because, you got to be something. Like,
if you're making cookies, you can mess with one ingredient at a time. Otherwise, you end up with cake.
Yeah, you don't increase the butter and salt at the same time, especially if the butter is salted. James, what the fuck is up with salted butter?
What do you mean?
Why is there salted?
Delicious.
Like, don't just give me fucking butter. Why is there salted butter and unsalted butter? Why do I have to add a Like, just don't put. I'll put salt in my food.
Mm-hmm.
They fluoridate butter. What the fuck? Just butter.
Who's they?
The people who make butter.
Yeah. The cows are already fluoridated by the water they drank.
No, okay. Yeah, that's the thing is there's already fluoride in everything, and when you're so in Europe it's a bigger problem because they don't pump it into the water as much, but then it's in the food and the industrial process. So here we have it there. We have the fluoride going into the animals, into the crops. It's not going to matter in the crops, of course. And then it's also in the water and in our toothpaste. We're like quadruple dipping.
Yeah.
Well, I want to do a whole episode on fluoride, but that will require more research and preparation.
I know you do, honey.
It's got to happen because there's not an integral stance on fluoridation.
So butter is just congealed cream. I don't know if you've fucked with unsalted butter, but there's no umami to it, and so it's kind of tasteless.
It's butter. It's butter. Like it's not supposed to taste like salt.
Well, if you were using it in cooking,
maniac,
you could use unsalted butter because you're going to do the thing. You're going to salt it later. But if you're putting
salted butter is for your toast and unsalted is for cooking.
Basically. Yeah, if you use salted butter in cooking, you don't add as much salt or MSG. I was watching a video about 1970s commercials, just commercial after commercial from the 1970s, and there's something called Align. All right. Damn it, what's it called? Anyway, it markets itself as a flavor enhancer. And so it's like, all right, what the fuck is a flavor enhancer? And yeah, it's MSG. It's just straight MSG, but they call it something else.
It enhances arousal.
I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, in the 70s, they're like, yeah, you should eat this because it's a flavor enhancer. And it gives you use half a tablespoon per pound of meat because it really wakens up the flavor. Yeah, it is nothing but monosodium glutamate, which is fine. A lot of Americans have a mild allergy to it, and so it's called like the Chinese food headache. Yeah, you're just slightly allergic to it, but really it's kind of better for you than salt in a lot of ways, but mass consumption of it, consumed in mass quantities, it's way worse than anything you can put in your body.
It sounds like a bad idea too.
Well, it's credited to some white guy, but back to other white guys. The Romans were making it, and it was more expensive than gold per pound. You take a bunch of sardines and put them in the bottom of a barrel, and then cover them in salt, and then put more sardines, and follow that layering until the barrel's full, seal the barrel, let it sit for a few months, and then tap the juices out of the barrel, and you can either use that straight juice or dehydrate it and use that powder as a flavor enhancer. That's how you make MSG.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure they make it.
It's fish in salt, and then it's like kind of concentrated.
The salt drew out an oil in the sardine, and that oil mixed with that much salt bonded, broke apart the things that make sodium, and it became monosodium.
Yeah, this is similar to, it's evoking my cannabis concentrates process of like, oh, it's kind of similar to that. Yeah, concentrating.
Yeah. Oh, MSG, that's in Chinese food. Well, the Romans were eating it and trading it worldwide, and the Chinese fucking lost their minds and, of course, went crazy with it. As history
Yeah.
would say. Yeah, they took it over.
Is it like Chinese American food that has all the MSG, or is like Chinese food also MSG loaded?
Double
You know what I
Chinese.
mean? Like double Chinese, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is approved by the FDA to go in anything, and it is addictive. Salt is, you crave it, but MSG is addictive. So if I'm allowed to put something addictive in my food, why would I not? I've got MSG upstairs right now.
Our deal is we just have salt and
They're
sugar in
putting an
everything.
appropriate amount in a dish, which is mostly vegetables,
Yeah.
rice, to enhance the flavor a little bit, add a little bit of more umami taste. But they're eating smaller portions, less times per day. So I don't think there's a ton of. It's all the smoking. There's where the health issues come in.
Yeah. Free rads.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. So umami, a pleasant savory taste from glutamates and nucleotides,
Mhm.
broths and fermented products. It's
Mhm.
just a taste. Umami is a taste.
Sweet,
That's
sour.
cool.
You could say savory, but that's umami. Spicy. What am I missing? Something else. Bitter. Those are the 5 tastes.
I wonder if those correspond to the big 5 personality types. We're gonna map out the tongue and figure out
So
what it
what
corresponds
personality?
to.
The mapping out the tongue thing is as good as phrenology. Uh,
Oh, it's
Sweet.
not actually location. I think I've heard that. Yeah, there's
No,
not parts. That seemed bullshitty because
it's
we
a
all
wives'
tried it. We
tale.
took a Jolly Rancher and
Uh,
it does
yeah.
taste different. No, it doesn't, Billy.
No.
Shut up.
Yeah, the
Okay.
size of your cranium will tell you about all you need to know about your personality.
Yeah.
Widely accepted
Get back in your
until
bird
it
cage.
wasn't. Okay, the 5 personality types. List them off. I'm unfamiliar.
Oh, so like the idea is a horizontal typology, which is to
Okay.
say we're really into the memes,
Hmm.
vertical development thing. And
Well,
so
it spirals up, honey.
yeah, spiral, double
Turtles up
helix.
and turtles
Any
down.
Daisy chains forever, turtles up and turtles down. The morning floods with gusto, yet the trumpet fails to sound. Around you seas of faces, so much hope below, I think we'll drown. Rosaries of union, our hearts surround. Experiencing motion sickness, trying to find where I went wrong. Lost without you, holding on. Within this flame, my life is holding out in all directions, stepping through my graduation day.
yeah. So because the really kind of revolutionary thing here and the thing that Integral really pushes is this idea of vertical development and stages, and to look at the people around you and classify systems, social systems, individual systems, classify the memes and patterns that you're seeing as these altitudes. However, there are also things about people that stay the same no matter how they grow vertically. For example, male and female physical bodies produce possibly, certainly, patterns in personality, patterns in development, and just kind of general tendencies. So a type, male and female, is a type system. So you can say generally women might be more communicative, more expressive, more focused on interpersonal communion, where men might be more focused on rights and responsibilities, hierarchical power dynamics.
Is that
Rather
brought
than,
on through like social pressure or
yeah,
social expectation more than biology?
there's nature and nurture. I mean, some of those hormones make little boys take a stick and point it and say pew, pew, and little girls will take a rock and say, "Oh, this is my pretty little rock." Some of that shit's biological. A lot of it's cultural, surely.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if you just take any old baby and you don't put it in a pink dress or anything, they're like dogs. They look the same. Like, oh, that one's got like a little bit different stuff going on down there, but I wasn't really focused on that. Men are a little bigger or whatever. But like, yeah, so like I'd say probably nurture is the bigger part of the whole gender expression thing.
Mm-hmm.
In spite, whatever forms it is this horizontal thing. And maybe as you develop, in particular, you get to green meme, and then there's sort of this questioning of, am I man? Am I male? Because you're widening your identity and you're questioning that. So you see a lot of like transgender and androgyny things becoming normalized and patterned in the green meme expression. So, here we are. Because the orange meme takes their biological gender as a scientific fact and as a given. So because I'm a man, I act like a man, I do man things. That makes sense in the nuclear family system, in the American capitalist system. That makes sense to do that. Likewise, the female expression, not to corral people into things, but just to create systems that are effective. That's kind of the orange meme thing. In the amber meme, absolutist, membership conformist, it is very much a judging thing. It's like women have to be this way, men have to be this way. Why? Because someone told me that. It's in a book. It comes from the top down. So that's a type. Other types, astrology, if you want that, your astrological type, that stays the same. Your Enneagram type stays the same. Whatever ethnic, religious, racial stuff you have with you, that stays the same as you develop. You might change your relationship with it, your ego sense, or how much you identify with these things, but they should be expected to remain constant as you develop. An orc doesn't evolve into an elf. It just stays an orc as it levels up. So in the horizontal, one of the better systems for horizontal typologies, one of the more accepted mainstream psychological models is called the Big Five personality traits.
Okay, here we are.
Yeah, little background. Jordan Peterson talks about the Big Five a lot. Let's see if I know them offhand. So the first one is extroversion. It might be introversion, but in spite of everything else, in spite of development and everything, it just appears to be the case that one way you can divide people up and classify people is some people are energized by relating to others, and some people are de-energized by that. They're energized by getting away from people. So those would be your introverts. And those seem to stay constant. It's not like you should develop from an introvert to an extrovert or vice versa. They both have strengths and weaknesses. Neuroticism is another Big Five. It's basically how much you react emotionally to things. So I do pretty well on the Big Five, but I have pretty high neuroticism. Like things shake me up pretty easily.
Neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. So
yeah,
I think
it's a catch-all too. It doesn't imply causation. There's a lot of things that cause that, but yeah, it can be caused by biology. You might just like have headaches, and so you're neurotic, like things bother you. It can be as simple as that. It's just to take the things as a given and bundle them up and sort people out on these. Okay, then you have openness, which is your acceptance and tolerance of learning, basically. You're how much you let people explain things, or when you're exposed to a new idea, how resistant you are to it. And this one is absolutely correlated with IQ. It's almost like the same thing. Like your openness to new ideas and learning kind of sort of is your IQ.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then let's see, the last one.
Closedness?
No. I know these. They're hard to rattle off sometimes. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
We don't have a perfect type system. This is
we'll
something.
Call it something else.
I'm begging
There's
Wilbur.
two types of people in this world.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's what this all boils down to is people are like, well, there's two types of people in this world. So, okay, no. How many types of people are there in this world? Let's get to, and this is where you get these dichotomies. You say there's two types of people in the world. There's people who believe things, and there's people who know things. You've just defined amber to orange meme dichotomy. You haven't captured everyone. You've captured those two memes and the difference between them. And you're correct. Some people are pre-rational. Some people are rational and post-rational. So you can say there's two types of people, or you can say there's two types of people. There's men and women. And so like the whole integral thing, really, the Ockwell map is how many types of people there are in terms of vertical, horizontal, quadrants, types.
I just want to point out that I know that saying there's two types of people triggers Adam, because even in our little youths, we say, okay, there's two types of people. There's those who like AC/DC and those who like one-ply toilet paper.
I don't trust anybody who doesn't like Johnny Cash.
There's no way to say there's two types of people ever and be accurate at all. Well, there's two types of people. Okay, well, there's living and there's dead, I suppose. That's pretty cut and dry. Or is it? Are you mentally gone? You're just a machine? You're vegetable?
Yeah, so Big Five is saying there's 5 types, and it's not saying that's all there is to it. So agreeableness is just like it sounds. Like, how much are you oppositional when you're communicating with people?
Closed and open. Introvert, closed and open. Extrovert, closed and open.
Oh, so like compound types, kind of. You're saying like when you pair them together, or
saying it's a spectrum, bro. To the best of our abilities with our stupid human brains, there's 18 types.
Yeah. The last one is conscientiousness, which is just like your own sense of how important morality and ethics are to you. It often manifests like type A people would be considered like conscientious. So conscientiousness can be annoying. It can result in you being kind of too much of a stickler, or being kind of having your head up your ass or whatever. Okay, so that's the Big Five personality types. It is one of the preferred horizontal typologies. Kind of like the Enneagram. I don't know. I just want a perfect type system, and I don't think we're there.
It will never exist.
Cool. So
you can want in one hand and shit in the other. For this exercise, I'd recommend you shit in both hands, or you'll end up with nothing.